Hello, Malik Carrington here, Family Budget Fisherman. Thank you for tuning in to another special episode on this channel. Yes, you read it in the thumbnail and in the description below, and you can see it in my regalia. I am rocking some Skeet Reese merch, and we're going to be talking about the new line of Skeet Reese fishing rods. Yep. So let's get started. Hello. Thank you again for tuning into the channel. I want to share with you this exciting opportunity for me to share with you the new, or as it is called, the next generation of Skeet Reese rods. And before I get into that one, many of you have been following me since the very beginning. And the Skeet Reese original rod has been with me, this particular rod has been with me the entire life of the channel. So we're going into 6 years. April will make, I'll be finishing up 6 years with the YouTube channel during that time period. This rod right here was an original. Of course, bought it from Dick's Sporting Goods. It's a Wright & McGill rod. I have caught more 5-pound or more bass on this rod than any rod in my arsenal, period. Okay? I have caught a lot of 5+ pound bass in these last 6 years of the channel. Maybe 100, maybe more. I've caught a lot of 5-pound bass. And I'm saying 5 pounds in the category of 5 pounds and up. A lot of 5-pound bass. And that might not seem like a lot to a lot of people, but it's a lot of bass of 5 pounds and up. And so I cherish this rod. I had 5 of these. I've given away 4 of these. As a matter of fact, the most recent time that I gave away some fishing rods, 2 of them were this. I'm not giving this rod away. I'm keeping this rod because I still use this rod. So now I had an opportunity to hook up with Skeet Reese at his booth at the International Sportsman's Expo 2025. So just over a week ago. And he had a new line of fishing rods. And we're going to talk a little bit about this rod and what makes this rod superior to that rod, other than that it's more than twice the price. Okay. At any rate, the opportunity to talk to him about this rod was very, very impressive. Okay. And just to show you how personal the relationship has become between Skeet and myself, about 7 years ago, because it was before the channel, 7 or 8 years ago, Jimmy Reese, his older brother, who's also a really good professional bass fisherman, was fishing the bass tank, and he was throwing a Lucky Craft jerkbait. This one right here, as a matter of fact, this Lucky Craft jerkbait. And he got hooked onto a fish, and he broke off. The next day, Skeet Reese was fishing the bass tank. I don't know whether he knew that the jerkbait was hanging on a fish or whatever, but the chances of him getting that jerkbait were very, very slim before the end of the show. He's casting and retrieving, doing the show, and he hooks into that fish, random. And he was able to retrieve this bait from that fish. Now, why is it in my hand and not in any one of the, many thousands of people who attended that event and attended that show? Skeet Reese asked a random question. And here was the question. He said, I will give this jerkbait to any person who happens to have a cheeseburger on them. Well, it just so happened that I had stopped at a McDonald's just before I had gone in there, and I carefully wrapped the hamburger. I think I bought 2 of them, and that was all I was going to eat over an 8-hour period, because I didn't want to eat, get full, and, start slowing down. So it was just 2 double cheeseburgers and some water. That's what I was going to have for that day. But he made the appeal. I happened to have a double cheeseburger on me, so I gave him the double cheeseburger. He thought I was joking. I gave him the double cheeseburger, carefully wrapped, never touched. And he then hands me the jerkbait. Here's what the beautiful thing was. He signed his name on one side, and Jimmy Reese signed his name on the other side. So I have the only jerkbait on the planet signed by brothers Skeet Reese and Jimmy Reese that's based upon an event that neither of them had anticipated this kind of result. And here it is here. So I developed a pretty good relationship. And then over time, I would see Jimmy Reese on the water over at Clear Lake. And even my family got a chance to know him, know Jimmy quite well. And then it just so happened that my wife became a professional administrator at a university that was well acquainted by the Skeet Reese family up here in Northern California. So there were several different areas where we got to know one another quite well. Well, I've seen him since. I've seen Skeet since. And we didn't go back into the cheeseburger business. But I did go to his booth and tell him not only how much I appreciate his products, but I appreciate him as a professional bass angler. I have a lot of respect for the guys who get out and do that as well. Nonetheless, you're not just competing against individuals. You're competing against endurance in weather. You're competing against endurance in the elements and in the response to fish. And some can do it more consistently than others. Not better, more consistently. Because endurance is about consistency. It's not perfection. You can never perfect how well you handle cold, hot, bouncing around on high waves and the whole bit, dealing with wind. You can never, ever perfect how you deal with those elements, but you can endure them. And I truly respect Skeet Reese for what he has done. But he has produced one of the best new rods on the market, at least the way it looks. I have not fished it yet. As you can see, I just bought it. Still got the show flag on it. Everything showing that I was there. Even got the bag behind me, and there's a little gift for me inside there. And I think it was a gift that was given to others as well when they bought it. This rod here retailed for about $80 when it was being sold by Wright and McGill. It was a signature series, mostly controlled by Wright and McGill. The difference in this particular one, well, let me first tell you the price. This one runs about $200, a little bit more than $200. And I'm going to deal with some specs as well. This is not a signature series rod. This is the Skeet Reese rod. Okay. Just like those of you who throw the Dobbins rod, this is the Skeet Reese Next 2 rod. Okay. Gary Dobbins does not make signature series rods. He made his own line of rods. The company is now sold to someone else. But just to show you, we've got premium. We've got 9 guides. Okay. All the way, and they're beautiful high premium guides, which is a step way beyond what was made before. A carbon fiber handle, and there are a number of rod companies that are doing the carbon fiber handle. Certainly, there's a small company called Stealth who's doing the carbon fiber handle. So I'm very familiar with the carbon fiber handle. Beautiful. This one is beautifully made. I do like the fact that the rear, the butt of the grip, or the rear grip, is very consistently. It's longer for bigger hands like mine. It even has, you probably can't see it. Let's see if I can get it around the lights here. Let's see. Hold on one second here without destroying the rod. If you can see those little dibbies right there. This is for individuals when you're casting longer distances, because, you know, most of us, when we're casting longer distances, we're two-handed casters. And so, so that's why that's there. Here is the hook keeper. Okay. And like I said, from the stripper guide to the runner guide to all the other guides leading up to the tip, really good high performing grips. High performing grips guides. What I do like is that everything it's made really well. You don't see extra glue on any of the guides, which is really nice. And then it has sort of a, and I hope I'm saying this correctly, Skeet. There's a little bit of roughness, almost. There was something. Let's just say this is smooth here, and this is rough. I'm gonna get it when I do my 24 hours on the rod. I will correct myself and tell you what this is. But what this does do is it does give it a little bit more sensitivity. As well, it's amazing what a rod, what a rod can do, what a blank can do, depending on how much it has been worked over in production or produced. Okay, so I am very impressed with that. I'm impressed with how light it is. It's only 4 ounces, 4.9 ounces, which is 4.9 ounces. Put it this way. The $675 St. Croix Legend Extreme is 5.3 ounces. So it's right down in there. Okay. And Skeet said that I can lay waste to this. Okay. And I do plan to do it. I am going to be comparing this rod real quick. I'll pick it back up. I'm going to be comparing this rod to these 3 rods. Of course, the recently purchased Tatula. This is the new Tatula with the new, with the most recent model of the Tatula MQ reel. I'm going to be comparing it to this one here. I'm going to be comparing it to the most recent Victory. This is the most recent Victory right here. Okay. And of course I put a Tatula on this one. And then I'm going to compare it to the most recent Zodius, Shimano Zodius. Now it has a previous model, Shimano Vanford, but I don't think that's going to be much of a problem. And of course this has a monocoque handle. So we're going to be comparing that carbon fiber handle to the monocoque. I'll be honest with you, monocoque handle is very, very sensitive because it is the butt of the rod. I mean, it is very sensitive. I don't know how the Skeet Reese rod will stand up to that, but here's what I'm going to mention to you. A rod doesn't have to be, quote, more sensitive to another. There is a minimum of sensitivity that it has to be for it to be successful. And so this particular rod, and I'll give you some specs on it. This particular rod is the 7'4". This is called the N2743S. It's a 7'4" rod with a lure rating of 1/8 on the low end, 3/4 on the high end. The line rating is 7 pounds on the low end, 12 pounds on the high end. And this one is for forward-facing sonar or forward-facing applications, jig head minnows, Nico rigs, wacky wigs, drop shot, Texas rigs, swimming worms, Tokyo rigs, 3 to 4 inch swim baits, etc., etc. So you can include your Neds, you can include your craws, you can include some of your smaller jerks. You can do a lot with this. You might even throw some of your spy baits with this. This category just kind of gives you an idea of the various things you could do. But I mean, they would be writing too much if they were to put every major bait that you could do on this rod. So I am going to be throwing this rod for a lot of time over the next 24 hours, not 24 clock hours, but I'm going to put this rod on the water and accumulate 24 hours of fishing time on the water. Yes, even in the winter. And in tough situations, like I've told you before, because I'm doing this, I will even add live bait. I don't fish much with live bait, but when the water is 40 degrees, and you want to use the rod, if they're only biting minnows, big shiners, you put a big shiner on there, because what you want to see is the performance when you're catching the fish. Now, I'm going to be throwing a lot of baits, but if I have to get out there with a night crawler, I'll throw it with a night crawler. But I just want to get a sense of how this rod performs under load when you're reeling in a fish. So expect for me to give you a full accounting for what this rod can do. I think aesthetically, it's very pleasing. This rod is a beautiful rod. From the butt all the way up to the tip. Very, very beautiful rod. It's hollow at the tip. I know some of you, like with the new Adrenas, some of the forward-facing rods, your tips are solid now, which is kind of an innovation for forward-facing fishing applications. But this, I believe, is a hollow tip. But nonetheless, we're going to crack them. We are truly going to crack them. There are some things that I'm looking forward to it doing. I mean, like I said, dealing with things under load for sure. But I want to see how it deals with braid. And I'm going to put both 8-pound test on here and 15-pound test leaders on here. I'm going to put braid on here. I'm going to put 10-pound braid on here. P-line, you need to talk to me because we need to talk. We need to talk. But I'm going to put some P-line on here, and we'll see what happens. I still got some Endurex over the back of my head there. The way the lock nut works, I think is very impressive. Look at that. It's a whole bunch of lock nut. Okay. One of the things that we talked about is having an exposed guide, and exposed rod blank. Right here is where the exposure is. It's not necessary that the exposure has to be in the full grip down here. It's not necessary because for me, my hand is spent way up here. I spend more time with my rod up here, and I still have my ring finger is a size 17. Just to kind of give you, I got big chunky fingers. And look at that. I'm not hanging off onto the blank itself. I'm having a good time here. So once again, does this even have, I think this has his signature R on it. You can see that there. The signature R on there for Reese. So expect for me to give this a lot of time on the water and give you my honest response. I think that this is a great innovative product. I think at the $200 price point, which is about where those other rods are, I think the least expensive one is the Tatula at, no. Ooh, I might not be able to include the Tatula because that's the Tatula AGS at $299. Well, maybe I'll leave it in there. I've already introduced it to you. I tried to keep it within the $200 price point, but that rod is not the Tatula, it's the Tatula AGS, and that rod is $299. But I'll keep it in there. Let's see, give this rod a goal to achieve. Now, I do not expect for this to perform as an NRX or Legend Extreme or Conquest or an Adrena, not Adrena, but a Poison Ultima. I don't expect for this rod to do that. The question is, will this rod perform so well that I don't need to get those? Okay. Notice I didn't say the Envy Black 3. 13 Fishing and I got some business we got to deal with. But I do expect for this rod to not only achieve its purpose, but to really, really perform extremely well. And he says that it can compete. And maybe I step up the game. Maybe we'll go from the Tatula AGS and we step it up to the new Poison Adrena, which is the new Poison Adrena is somewhere around here. I thought it was right next to me, but it's not. Oh, there it is right over there. Can y'all see it? It's right there. The new Poison Adrena is right there. Maybe it'll perform as a $400 rod. I don't know. Or I have the one over there, and that is the Daiwa Steez, the one. That's a $550 rod. Maybe it'll perform at that level. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I'm not expecting for it to do an NRX. The new NRX, of course. So tell me, has any of you considered a Skeet Reese rod? Remember I told you before, I used to have a problem with Signature Series rods because I didn't think enough great technology was put into those Signature Series rods. You've got professional bass fishermen who are winning the classics. Now, Skeet Reese won the 2009 classic, but you got other guys who are winning classics and they are not selling rods. Jordan Lee has won 2 Bassmaster Classics. I like 20 in the late 20 teens, 2016, 2017, 2018, something like that. And he can't sell his $100 rods and rod and reel combinations by Abu Garcia. As a matter of fact, I think they've discontinued his Signature Series of rods. So it's not easy. And you know my opinion on Signature Series rods, but this is not a Signature Series. This is some of Skeet Reese's personal, forward-thinking applications into a very, very contemporary rod. And I'm looking forward to throwing this rod. So talk back to me in the comments below. Please do so, and no matter what, don't do anything to break your family's budget trying to buy any of this equipment, but by every legal and ethical means, please do me a favor. Get out there and break your personal best. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Be blessed.